Hi everyone, it's Sarah. I just wanted to add a few thoughts, specifically as it relates to the content for today, in addition to the information from Dr. Jacqueline Limoges, who I think has really set up the course in a really great way. So I just have some additional thoughts, and you're going to see I'm going to do this from week to week to complement what Dr. Limoges has provided and looking at some additional information, more so specific to the readings and the content as we kind of switch things up every week. I'm going to suggest that you actually take a look at this quick video. So you're going to have to go to the PowerPoint slide to access it. It's a really nice short little video that really kind of talks about, from a variety of nurses' perspectives, what are some of the things that kind of keep them up at night, the various ethical dilemmas that we find ourselves as nurses experiencing. And I'm wondering, as you listen to the voices of these nurses, which are the ones that you can actually start to resonate with. Because I think, again, this is the whole purpose of why we discuss ethics on a regular basis, is because of the ethical dilemmas that we find ourselves in. And I think, I'm hoping what you'll see from this clip is that there are ethical dilemmas in all domains of practice. So it's not just about patient care scenarios. It's about interprofessional conflict and dilemmas that you may experience with your own colleagues. It's about academic ethical issues and things of that nature. So have a look at that and perhaps reflect upon what are some of the things that perhaps you've already witnessed or experienced within your own academic or professional career so far. The other thing that we're really looking at, and this came up in your one of the readings for today in terms of the contributions of ethical education, is what we're really trying to do throughout this course is to develop your sense of ethical competency. This is a core competency that we require as nurses, and it's defined in the article that you was on deck for today is the possession of ethical knowledge next to the ability to see what a situation presents, to critically reflect what nurses know, are, and do, and to bring about ethical practice. So these are those 5 components of ethical behavior and ethical competence that was identified within the article. And as you could see again within this article, what the students and the educators saw as the benefits of ethical education is it really does help to challenge our established practices. And we're invited to reveal our own attitudes and prejudices and kind of check on those, and also really start to discover our own professional values. But some of the challenges, as you noticed in the reading as well, it does create the sense of uncertainty. So as Dr. Limoges mentioned in her opening comments, this course will create more questions than definitive answers. The reason why we have ethical dilemmas and experience ethical issues, because there is no one set answer. If there was one set black and white answer, there would be no ethical dilemma. So how do we start to navigate this magnitude of uncertainty, and how do we develop that ethical competency as nurses is really quite key. The teaching strategies that were identified in this article, this is what this course is based upon. We will be looking at applying theory and practice, so I will be calling upon you to bring your ethical scenarios that you're seeing within your practical settings. I'm going to share with you some of mine throughout the course of my 35 some odd years of nursing to bring that theory and practice together. We use a lot of case studies, real life case studies, to apply that theory to practice. The weekly discussions that hopefully you'll engage in will really help to bring about that ethical competency, and again, your own personal reflections week to week in terms of what this actually means to you. So you can see this is exactly how this course is based upon. So it'll be how we work together as a community of learners to bring that to the forefront and really contribute to the development of your ethical competency. In the chapter readings, it started to talk about the whole notion that, there, in terms of looking at about what are morals versus values, your individual values and the morals, whether that could be at an individual level, but also at a collective level. And this is what we're really going to focus the course upon, really looking at in terms of how do we use these to guide decision making. Your text also gave you an introduction to the various ethical theories we'll be discussing over the course, primarily over the course of the next 3 weeks, and we're going to go into these in great detail. So just to give you a bit of a sense, a little bit of a flavor of the various ethical theories that we're going to be using, and again, over the course of the next 3 weeks or so, we're going to go into these in a great amount of detail. And here's just again some discussions with regards to this. So as you can see, even looking at the other reading that you had on deck today, the whole notion about voluntary stopping of eating and drinking versus physician-assisted death, even taking that particular topic and applying a different ethical theory to it will change significantly how we might actually use or view this particular dilemma. So from a deontological perspective, what are the rules with regards to patient autonomy? What are the rules with regards to physician-assisted death, or now here in Ontario we have medical assistance in dying? What would the decisions be based on a deontological lens versus one of virtue versus one of bioethics? So this is the type of competency and skills we're going to develop over the course of the next 13 weeks or so, is how do you look at an ethical dilemma, and what are the different ethical theories that will start to guide decision making with regards to that. And then very specifically, again, going back to this whole topic of, here's an example of an ethical issue. What's voluntary, a patient voluntarily stopping of eating and drinking, the issue of competency, the issue of autonomy, it's patient choice versus our ethical dilemma of watching a patient die over the course of several weeks versus physician-assisted death or physician-assisted suicide, as it refers to in this particular article, and what that means. So again, these are the ethical dilemmas that we find ourselves in. What I wanted to point out here for you quickly, because we'll get into lots of different discussions about different types of ethical dilemmas, but as it relates specifically to your paper, to your assignment. So here is an example of a topic. So it looks like physician-assisted suicide, or for us again, it's medical assistance in dying. So here's an example of what I want to point out to you. The topic might be medical assistance in dying, but the ethical issue is one of patient autonomy. So that's what, and we're going to come back to this a couple of times throughout the course of the semester. But I wanted just to point this out as an example of, as you start to look at potential topics for your paper, the topic, again, here is one of voluntary stopping of eating and drinking versus medical assistance in dying. But the ethical issue that's underpinning this is one of patient choice or autonomy. So therefore, the focus of your paper would really be about autonomy in decision-making, ethical decision-making, versus the topic of medical assistance in dying. So I just wanted to point that out as an example. So I hope that starts to get your heads wrapped around the assignment a little bit more. And again, just as Dr. Limoges mentioned, again, some questions to ponder between now and next class. Have a think about this whole notion about virtue ethics. If you think you're a good person and you believe you're going to be a good nurse, then what does this look like in terms of your role as a student for us in our virtual class together? And again, I'm going to really hammer home that notion about participating in those weekly online discussions that contributes not only to your learning but to collective learning of the individuals in your smaller group. My obligation to contribute to that as well, and then how do we actually start to bring this together as a group. And again, a last little pitch, again, to complete that moral preference indicator scale. Again, that's just a personal exercise for you and for you only. So I hope you enjoy week 1 and start to get yourselves into a little bit of a groove. And again, if you have any questions at any time, don't hesitate to use the discussion boards. Have a good week. Bye.